Good morning, everyone. This is Pat Sacco, and this is The Forum. Why did we pick that name? We picked that name because the definition of that word means a gathering place of information, a forum. So we thought, what better place, what better name for us to do what we're doing?
Yeah.
And I have with me today a not very old person, 14?
I just turned 16 actually, May
16.
28th.
Wow.
Yeah, so recently.
You're going to get a driver's license?
Yeah, we're working on that.
All right, let me know when you're out. I'll be home for a while.
Okay.
So you get proficient.
All right.
Pierce.
Yeah.
Why did I say Peyton?
No, I think you said Pierce.
No, earlier I said Peyton.
Huh.
All right, Pierce. This is Pierce Hand.
Yeah, my twin's name is Peyton.
And Peyton is twin brother, okay.
Yeah.
And we connected 7, 8, 9 months ago.
It was all throughout last summer.
Yeah, right. And why did we connect? Well, the boys are not your average typical set of twins and set of boys. They're super bright.
Thank you.
But you're very humble about your intelligence. I like that. You're not cocky about it or anything. You seem to be very humble about it. What's your average in high school?
I get all A's.
All A's. Huh? And what about him?
Yeah, he gets all A's too.
He gets all A's too. Oh, that's too bad. He should get C's.
Oh.
So you could tease him about it.
I get slightly higher A's.
Oh, because you have that competition. And you're also a musician.
Yeah, I play the alto saxophone at home, and I'm in the choir program.
Okay, and he plays
the oboe.
And he's in the choir program.
No, but he is like associated with it. Like he plays the oboe for it sometimes. Like if the choir director needs someone to like play oboe, then Peyton's normally our guy. And although there haven't been too many songs with oboes in them, when he did have a song with an oboe in it, he was called over and he did a fantastic job.
Excellent. Now, you go to South Fork High School.
Yeah.
And South Fork High School has a fairly decent choir, don't they?
Yeah, I think we're more than decent.
You were invited to go to London.
Yes.
How many choirs from the United States were invited to go?
Ooh, I don't know. In the last concert, like the big finale, there were quite a bit of people up there. So I'd say like, I don't know, 10 around there.
And how many choirs are there in the United States?
Like
thousands.
A lot more than 10.
So it's quite an honor for South Fork to be picked.
Yeah, it really was.
To go to London. And you went right after Christmas, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Starting the 28th of December, I believe.
And you said you basically had about 6 good days there, not counting all the traveling and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to pick you apart. I want to know from one time my son and I were driving down the street. I don't know, he was maybe 7 or 8 years old, 6 years old, whatever. And I picked him up from school and I said, what did you do at school? Nothing. Well, what did you, we played, what? We took a nap. I said, stop. And I pulled over the side of the road and I said, look, I'm asking you because I want to know.
Yeah.
From now on, I want you to tell me what happened to you from the time your foot got off the school bus till the time I picked you up. Whenever I ask you a question, I want you to fill me in on your day.
Okay.
I created a monster.
You did?
He said, yeah, I was late. I almost missed the bus. I got in the bus and I was trying to button my shirt and everything. Then we got there, when my locker was stuck and I couldn't get it open. It was, almost, and I had a test and I went in there and I started writing my name and my pencil broke.
Oh, no.
I said, wait a minute. Can we back up a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm going to do that to you, though.
Okay.
Okay, because I'll tell you, I have a confession to make about London. We went on a 3 capital tour, which was to be London, Paris, and Rome. I thought, oh, it's so exciting. We're going to take the Channel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to go to London.
Oh.
I didn't want to go to Paris.
Oh.
I just wanted to go to Rome.
I see.
I apologize because London and Paris were absolutely phenomenal. I never thought that I would enjoy those 2 cities as much as I did. But we learned a trick. in Paris. One of the reasons I didn't want to go to Paris because we were told the Parisians don't particularly like Americans and they're not so friendly. Well, my wife had taken a course, take a year of French or something, and she had a couple of words. And we discovered if you went into a store and said, "Hey, anybody speak English?" they'd all shrug their shoulders and shake their head like, "Nah." But if you went in and said a couple of French words, they would come right up to you, put their arm around you, and say, "That's okay, we speak English." So if you accommodated them, they were friendly.
Yeah, Peyton is actually taking French right now online.
I just got to go to Paris.
Yeah, I think he's planning to definitely maybe teach English over there.
Yeah, but and they were delightful people, friendly, warm, in all three countries, and all the British are sort of out, distanced. And
they're nice.
They're nice people.
Yeah.
And again, if you treat them like a decent person, if you do unto others as you would have them do unto you,
Yeah.
they tend to respond in kind. There's a good little expression that says, "It's a funny thing, but true, that people you don't like you." And it kind of plays that way.
Yeah.
Okay. You flew from where?
Right.
You didn't fly from Fort Pierce.
No, the Miami airport, and we got there on like a charter bus, and it was a 3-hour bus ride from
Gatwick.
Cracker Barrel. Actually, that's normally our meeting place for the choir.
Was it Gatwick Airport or Heathrow?
Heathrow.
That's a small airport, isn't it?
I don't know. It was actually my first time like being on a plane and my first time in an airport, so I don't really know the sizing.
It is huge. You walk forever. In fact, when we were coming, we were flying from Heathrow to somewhere, and we had to go into a holding area. Let's say our plane was going to leave in an hour. You couldn't go down to the gate until a half hour. So they put you in this holding area.
Yeah.
To sit. Then they would announce it. Then you could go down and wait a half hour where your plane was. Here in America, you could just walk in and go to your flight thing.
Yeah, we did have a little holding area, but they just called like the row numbers up and we got on the plane.
And how long a ride was a half hour?
To London from Florida.
No, I meant from Heathrow.
Oh, from Heathrow to London. I'm not too sure, but it definitely it was around a half an hour, I'd say. We were on another bus.
And where did you stay?
We stayed at a hotel. The details about the hotel evade me, but this was actually just the second time I stayed in a hotel because the first time was a month prior, when we went to Disney to sing there, because there's like a candlelight festival that our choir we normally make the cut every year. And yeah, this year it was a 2-day trip as opposed to last year, and we could visit the like 2 places in Disney World, and we stayed in a cramped hotel room overnight, and that was my first hotel experience.
Cramped hotel room?
Yeah, we had like I don't know, like 5 boys in there, and 4 of them stayed up all night.
Of course.
Yeah.
So excited.
Yeah, I had trouble sleeping, but I made it.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's neat to do those kinds of things.
Yeah.
We had something called what did they call it? It was a statewide singing competition from schools, and each school would nominate like 4 people: a tenor, a bass, an alto, and a soprano. And it was called like an all-state kind of thing.
Yeah, all-state.
Yeah. And I was fortunate to be picked a couple of times. We went and met new people, and you're right. The excitement was just so high. It was hard to sleep.
Yeah.
But the sound that came out of that group was utterly amazing. Just like your choir, the sound that they produce is just amazing.
Yeah, and our sound was helped out a little even more in the finale concert, which had all the USA choirs, because they sprinkled a few professionals around, like like grown guys, so they sort of stood out. And I'm 5'5", and this like guy next to me who was singing the part lower than me, and I still managed to keep my part somehow. He was like, I don't know, 6'3", but he ended up like he told us that he voiced or he did some of the choral music in the Marvel movies, and he said maybe something in Harry Potter. So I'm a Harry Potter fan, so I was like, whoa.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was nice meeting him, and I sang next to him, and yeah, we sounded so cool. The recordings are on YouTube. You can go to type in like London International Choral Festival.
Well, wait a minute. I got to find out where you're coming from. Gryffindor or Slytherin?
No, I'm actually a Hufflepuff.
Thank you. Okay. I would be not a Slytherin.
Not all Slytherin are evil though.
Well, the one was. But yeah, Harry Potter, great series of books. I mean, where did that come from in your head?
J.K. Rowling
Yeah, I
said
mean-
that it was just on a train ride. Harry Potter popped in her head.
And you know that she wrote all her books on a yellow 9x13 pad of paper?
Oh wow.
No computer, no typewriter. She wrote them out by hand.
Yeah.
In fact, one time she was running out of pads. She called a store. They didn't have them. They panicked. They searched all over England.
Because they
get her-
wanted to get this woman
Get her a
writing.
case of paper. And she was a single mother on welfare when she started
yeah.
out. You know? I expect that of you, both of you and your brother. You're going to do extraordinary things.
Thank you.
And I love the expression that ordinary things happen from ordinary people. I mean, extraordinary things happen from ordinary people. If you have a focus and you have a desire and you have that interest and you pursue it, you're going to do beautifully. And you have a gift, okay? Use that gift wisely and
Okay.
treat it as a gift.
I will.
And don't be berating anybody who doesn't have the gift, because you don't want to be ordinary. Because everybody had the gift, you'd be an ordinary person.
Yeah.
No, seriously. And I think when we have obstacles thrown in our path, it makes us a stronger person.
Definitely.
I love to look at everything as an adventure, whether it's a bad thing or a good thing. Right now, this pandemic is an adventure for us. Now, it might not be the most pleasant adventure we've ever had,
Yeah.
but it's an adventure nonetheless. And how can we adjust? How can we do our best thing and survive? I'm going to say something. I'm not going to give the definition, but there are SPs out there. They're blank people. I can't tell you what the S stands for. Who don't mask, who don't keep a 6-foot distance, who hang around in crowds. And what they're saying very loudly is, hey, anybody have the virus? Can you give it to me, please?
Wonderful.
You know, I don't have it. I want to find out what it is. Give me the virus. And whether the virus is spreading on its own or because we've been being lax, and I suspect it's the latter. We're being lax. We think it's over. And that's why I think we're seeing a spike in cases. But now it's because we're doing it, not because it was doing it to us. We got to stop. Got to stop doing it. We have to realize that our life is different, but it's an adventure now.
Yeah.
Okay. Why look at it in a negative sense? What benefit could that give you?
No, you just gotta stay upbeat and think about all the cool things you can do once it maybe is over, and all the cool things you still can do. Just be safe.
For me, it was a positive thing staying home, because I've been on a whirlwind for 10 years. Every day, something else going on. Every day doing this, doing that.
Oh.
And finally, I had a chance to kind of like become a monk and go on a mountain. Isolate myself, isolate my wife and I. We isolated ourselves, and we're having a great time.
Nice.
We had some video things. We had CDs of an old TV series. You probably never saw it. It's called 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. Very action-packed, 5-year thing. We had that on tape. We went through all of that.
Wow.
There was an old English series that she had on CDs. We've gone through that. We did From the Earth to the Moon with Tom Hanks. Did that series. We are now halfway through Cheers. And was a TV comedy. Funny, very super neat
Nice.
thing. And I think there were 11 years. I think we're in year 6 right now. And every night we watch 3 or 4 half-hour episodes. So we filled in those kinds of things. We're reading, we're doing a lot of things. And it was just a nice for me to step back and kind of get myself together a little bit. I'm getting a little anxious. I want to get out there and go back on that whirlwind, but it's not time yet. And it'll happen. It'll happen.
Well,
Okay, back to London.
Yeah, London.
London. Your meals were provided.
Yeah, we had a few meal cards that were given to us at the beginning of our trip, and it didn't cover the cost of all the meals, so we had to bring some extra cash. But there were a few places we could go on that card, and one of my memories like paying with that card was we went to a place called Byron's Burgers, I believe that's what it's called, and it was like such an amazing burger, and we were waiting for the ice rink, for like the skating rink in London next to the Natural History Museum to like open up and allow a little more people, because it was like very full at the moment, and we had to wait like 2 hours or so. So one of the chaperones, who was really cool, he was the father of one of the girls that went on the trip, and 3 freshman boys who I had like inducted into my group, and one of them I shared a room with him for in the hotel. We all went to Byron's Burgers and we had an amazing burger, and that was like one of the times we got it for free.
Oh, excellent. Good.
Yeah.
You got to look for things like that, you know.
Yeah.
Keep your money in your pocket unless you absolutely have to use it. Westminster Abbey.
Ooh, so we actually didn't like get out of the tour bus to see it, because it was quite cramped with a bunch of passersby at the moment, but we did get to see it, and along our tour like tour bus guide, we were able to get out at a few places like Buckingham Palace, and we took some very cool pictures. Like my friend and I, we got in the position of one of the statues, and we were like mimicking it, and we got our picture taken there. It was very cool. And then we came back later in the day to see the changing of the guard ceremony, and we weren't like right up to the palace at the time, but we were able to see the guards come out like playing their music, and it was so cool. And we got to see them from behind, like from behind a fence, and it was really nice.
I was very naive about a lot of things. I'm naive about a lot of things anyway. Tower of London.
Oh yes, that was like my favorite part
I
of the
thought it was a
trip.
tower. I thought it was just one little dinky. It's a city.
Yeah, so much stuff
Excuse
in
me.
there. So many good stories and a lot of history. Our tour guide was telling us all these wonderful stories, and he saw like a raven, and he was like, "Oh yeah, ravens.
Yeah.
They protect the tower." And he told
Mhm.
us a story about that. And then one of the kings with the many wives, King Henry VIII, was
Henry
it?
VIII, yes.
Yeah. He was telling us all these gruesome stories about how he like killed his wives after they couldn't provide him a son, and
Mhm.
there was like a attempted suicide, and like it was where one of the towers was where two little boys, like princes, supposedly were thrown out of the window, and their bodies weren't found, and it's a mystery that remains to this day. But
Wow.
one of the reasons I really connected with all those stories was because in 8th grade I had a project, or 7th grade I had a project where I could read 3 books from an author, and I chose Margaret Peterson Haddix, and she has a book series called The Missing or something, and it's about children who went like missing from history,
Mm.
and like they're in this present age right now, but they're actually like long lost people of long ago, and they were brought here to be saved by time travelers, and it was a cool series.
Wow.
But one of the books, like the second one, it talked about those two kids that were supposedly thrown out of their window and killed. And one of the main characters was one of those kids that supposedly didn't live. And I was like, wow, I remember that from the book. So it was really cool. And we just like went gallivanting around the Tower of London, and we went inside. And
So the crown jewels.
no,
You had to walk or
it was a 2-hour wait,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah.
we wanted to do other things and hear the wonderful stories as opposed to see some jewels.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What about the guards? What's special about the guards at the Tower of
The
London?
guards, sometimes they let you take pictures with them.
But you know how they have to qualify?
How?
They have to be retired from the military, at least a sergeant major,
Oh,
and they dedicate themselves to this job.
nice.
And they live in in the barracks. They have a very strenuous job, a very strenuous life, and they do this for the dedication to the crown.
Wow.
Very special kind of people. It isn't like just hiring some retired guy. You have to qualify, and you have to be something special.
Yeah, so they're not just like things for tourists to see. They actually provide a function.
Exactly. Yeah, when we said Tower of London, I thought it was one little tower somewhere. It's like when we went to Rome and we went through the Vatican, and we're looking for the Sistine Chapel because I thought it was like a little room. I was wrong. It was this huge thing with all the paintings of Michelangelo on the ceiling.
Oh wow, you saw that?
Oh yeah. In
Nice.
fact, I was standing in a crowd and I started getting dizzy. And I went over, there was a chair against the wall, and I sat there for a while and started breathing a little bit. And I thought, what's the matter with me? Then I realized that I was looking at those paintings. I've seen pictures of them. But the power of what I saw just basically took my breath away.
That's amazing.
The power of the painting of what he did on his back, on a scaffold in his 70s. In fact, on one wall, there's the Last Judgment, huge painting. He did it, the Last Judgment, all kinds of characters and everything. And down in the bottom right, I think, there's a guy who has the ears and the tail of a jackass and the face of a cardinal. Because the Pope was very upset with Michelangelo, saying, you're not working fast enough. So he would tell his cardinal, go over there and shake the scaffold. Say, hurry up, hurry up. And the guy who came and shook the scaffold ended up with his face painting on the wall as a jackass.
Oh my gosh. That's some beautiful history right there.
Oh, I mean, that's like unbelievable. Well, even the Tower of the Westminster Abbey, I thought was just a regular church. It's a museum and a chapel.
Mm.
And I think it's Sir Isaac Newton is buried in the floor.
Oh, wow. Like in the floor?
Yes.
Dang.
There was a big controversy. The people wanted Isaac Newton to be buried in Westminster Abbey. The church said no, because he was not a Christian.
Oh.
He was an atheist. Well, they made such a big stink about it. Now, they didn't go and rip down towers and yell and scream at people, but they made such a big to-do of it. They ended up burying him there.
Wow.
In spite of it was not a religious thing. And there's a little wooden chair. It looks all beat up. It's the coronation chair. And every king from 600, 700, 800 years past have sat in that chair to be crowned king or queen. And so kind of beat up, but they're not going to do anything about it. They just bring the old chair out, have the person sit in it, and do the crown. Mm-hmm. That history, we look at something as an antique here that's 50 to 75 years old. They start at 200 years on up for their antiques because of the rarity of things. Well, we just got a little signal that we're going to take a little break. Yes. It's break time, and then we'll be right back. Well, we're back here again with Pierce Hand
Hello.
talking about his recent trip to London.
Yeah.
With the
South Fork Choir.
Carillon Singers.
Yeah.
From
That's
South
the
Fork High
top
School.
choir in South Fork.
Excellent. Now, any other concerts coming up?
So we were going to have a spring concert, but as you might have already guessed, that was canceled, and that would have been in May. And normally we do this one song that we have like a dancing. We have to learn choreography for, and we have a partner, and we do that every year. And our choir director wasn't sure if we would have the concert or not because it was still like late March when she assigned this, but she just had us like brush up on our skills for that song called For Good. It's in the Wicked musical, and so she just had us like learn that and new old choreography. But I had to learn a different part because last year I was a tenor too, and now I'm a baritone,
Okay.
and that's how it went for most of the year. Like old songs I had to learn new parts for. So I think next year will be like the easiest year of choir for me, because I'll have already like known a lot of the songs, and I'll stick with the baritone part hopefully. So that'll be nice.
Well, it's not going to be that much different though between second tenor and baritone.
Actually, we sing in like different clefs, and I was actually a tenor one in middle school, but we mostly sang in like falsetto because that's what a tenor in middle school probably is for most of the middle schools with like young children. And then you move to tenor in high school, and it's a lot like of chest voice strain for some of the like pubescent boys, and so that's when I learned that like my voice was dropping a little bit, so then I had to move to baritone this year.
My wife and I sang for a number of years at a church, and this wasn't our church, but a friend went there, and they had a cantata every year of a winter cantata for Christmas and an Easter cantata.
Nice.
And we had to spend 6 to 8 weeks of practice for each of the cantatas. It was really fun.
Oh wow.
But then the choir director finally retired. It was 94.
Oh my gosh, that's 1 year less.
And you would never know
grandpa.
that Earl was 94 years old. He was very soft-spoken. He had, believe he taught at the old Port Pierce High School for 30-some years.
Wow.
And he had these guys who were in school that sang with him in school. And then whenever he needed a bass for a cantata, he called one of the guys, and they never could say no to him. So they always showed up. Joe Smith is a good example. Joe is our county clerk, and he plays the big doom, 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 doom.
Oh yeah, stand-up bass.
Stand-up bass. When he was in school, he wanted to play the violin. And Earl said, "Your fingers are too fat."
I had the opposite problem in
So
sixth
you're going to
grade
play the bass.
because I in middle school I really wanted to like play an instrument, and my mom recommended that I be in band, so I tried it out, and we had this day where we went around and tried all the instruments, and for some reason on the smaller alto sax all I could produce were squeaks, and then when I went to the tenor sax, which was like one of the last instruments I got, so maybe I had like developed some technique by then, I actually played a note on there, so I was like, oh yeah, the tenor sax, I'll do that. But my little, I don't know, 4'9" frame couldn't fit with the tenor, and it was like way too bulky, so I was like, yeah, give me the alto. And I was scared that it would squeak again, but I made some beautiful notes on it, and that led to me being in band for all 3 years in middle school and jazz band last year.
Wow, fantastic. Well, if you're going to have the next concert you're going to give in the fall or Christmas or whatever, send me an ad with on a JPEG file,
Okay.
and I'll blast it out to all of our people.
Oh, wow.
Say our adopted sons will be, entertaining, and let's see if we can get some people to show up.
Yeah, some support for the choir program too.
'Cause I only have 800 on the list, so maybe we can. I don't know what I would do if they all showed up at once. They've never done that.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Well, you've seen, our senior networking breakfast.
Yeah.
Which we're
All
in
last summer.
suspension right now. We had ended up anywhere between 50 and 80 people every week, every month.
Yeah.
In fact, Pierce and his brother played some nice soft music through one of our breakfasts.
Yeah, just to get the mood up and to like introduce us without having to really say anything. And then later on in the breakfast networking meeting, I got up and just like told told like what we were trying to do, go to London. And yeah, it was just the start of something like really beautiful. And all these people, all these business owners came together and contributed toward my cause. And I was able to go to London last December and going through into January.
I've said this so many times. The Treasure Coast is unique, and the people who work here are unique. They're not vicious competitors. They're not dog eat dog kind of people. They're friends with other people in different levels of their business, and yet everybody seems to get along well. People make referrals back and forth. It's a wonderful, wonderful place to work, and it's for me a wonderful place to live. I love to see people interacting because my whole idea is community. People should know everybody, should get along with everybody, and not be in this bustle of the 21st century, driving madly through life, but to relax a little bit and
Yeah.
enjoy some more things.
Enjoy life.
Yes. So, what's on store for school in the fall? What subjects are you going to be taking?
So first of all, we don't even know if like traditional school is coming back, but I know that like some sort of school is coming back. So I'm currently in the IB program, and the first 2 years of high school were like the pre-IB program, and IB stands for International Baccalaureate, and it's like a worldwide recognized program. And South Fork is one of the only schools in like the nearby vicinity to offer the IB program for free, because that or like the IB program at all, and we just happen to offer it for free. And so next year I'll be taking some classes like choir again, which isn't an IB class, of course. But then I'll also have biology and history of the Americas, because I want to get like a thorough understanding
Very good.
of
Very
history,
good.
you know. Classes like those, and like the HL math, which is higher level math. And my brother just wants to take a little break from math, so he went to one of the lower level ones. And I don't blame him, but I was just like, you know, I'm good at math, so why not just try my best to do the higher level math? And people are like, Piers, you're gonna fail, or well, they weren't like you're gonna fail, but I've just
get rusty.
heard horror stories sometimes. And I'm like, I don't let them phase me. I just want to do what I
Is that
can.
like algebra, geometry, trigonometry?
It has a lot of stuff from like the past few years of math, but it builds on it, and you get some calculus in there.
It's a calculus. Yeah, calculus used to be the highest level for
Yeah.
us. We went to intermediate algebra, advanced algebra, geometry, calculus.
Yeah. Now there's something like linear algebra. I don't know. It's like a college level course, but it's one of the highest level math courses you can take. But I don't know if I'll get to that point.
Okay, now is the time. You're going to be a junior this year, right?
Yeah.
And now is the time to look at colleges.
Indeed.
Indeed. What do you have in mind?
So I really want to be a genetic counselor, and that's it's someone that like analyzes genetic findings of like a patient or a family, and they deliver those findings in human terms, and they really like counsel the patients with the like diagnosis and prognosis, and they like offer them help and support. And I think like connecting with people in that way would be really cool. And one of the like a few majors associated with that path, which has its own master's degree, is like biology with a concentration in like microbiology and stuff like that. And some schools have biomedical sciences, which has like a lot of genetics classes. Like I looked over a bunch of colleges and like their majors to find the ones that had the most like genetics genetics based majors in them, and like so I got like a list of colleges that have a lot of cool genetics classes, and Cornell University, I know it's a far reach, but they have a biology major with a genetics concentration, and that would like best fit what I'm looking
I know
forward
that
to.
campus well.
Oh.
Carl Sagan had an office there with billions and billions of stars. That TV series. Cornell's a beautiful college. Beautiful college. Sets up. Why did they build? Here's a good question. I have the answer to this. That's why I'm asking you. Why did they build colleges up on the hill?
I don't know, to make them look look more like grand, maybe.
No, another guess. Take another guess. It had to do with agriculture.
Oh, so they could like get the water down the hill or something?
No, it had to do with agriculture.
Huh.
They never built a college in prime land. Prime land was used for farming.
Oh.
They took the scuzziest, rock-laden pieces of real estate
And transformed
and built a
them
college
into
on it.
masterpieces.
Yeah, right, because
yeah,
that was
I see
worthless
today.
to the economy.
Wow.
There's always the college up on the hill. It's because of the agriculture. Why do you take a summer break?
Because like school is intense sometimes.
See,
and you
that's
need a
why you're
break.
going to continue to look at this country and see about the history of it. The reason we have a summer break.
Oh, is it agriculture?
Agriculture,
Ooh.
because the kids had to get out of school for planting.
Oh.
And they had to work the farm in the summer. They had to harvest. And as soon as the harvest was over, they went back to school.
That's cool.
Now, we don't do harvesting much anymore, but we've been in this tradition. If you always do the same things, you're always going to get the same result.
Yeah.
You have to be a little more innovative. My idea of school, and would really tick off parents, would be 6 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks, 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
6 weeks of school, 2 week break, 6 weeks of school, 2 week break, year round.
Oh.
After 6 weeks, you'd need a little bit of wind down time. Why would you have 2 or 3 months off?
Yeah, there's a lot of summer slide.
Yeah, but it throws you mentally. Now you got to go in September and sort of get tooled up again in your mind, get in studying mode and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it would cause a panic in this country with who's going to take care of the kids during those 2 weeks, just like we're doing right now with the pandemic. It's been a burden to families.
Yeah.
Because
the kids aren't away at school.
And what are they doing? Are they staying home from their job? Well, they're all staying home. Now they're starting to go back to school or back to work.
Yeah.
But people made accommodations. Our country lags behind most other countries in terms of education because of that very fact.
Oh.
We have less education opportunities year round, I think, with our school system. But that changed a whole, another layer of economics. You pay the teachers more. What about the bus drivers? How do you coordinate all this stuff? It's a nightmare. Yeah. But if we continue to do what we're doing, we're always going to get the same result. It's easy for me to say because I have nothing to do with it. Just an idea.
Yeah.
But and take people like you who want to learn. You want to take on extra projects. You want to do extra reading and stuff like that. It's like being homeschooled. I was really never in favor of homeschool till I met it was a special education professor. And he had 4 children. And I think there were 3 girls and a boy. And his wife did homeschooling. And I was not too happy with that idea till I found out what they were doing. All 4 kids were bright. And part of their brightness was what they were doing with education with them. For instance, let's say you were taking a chemistry course. And how long are your periods in school? 45 minutes?
So we have, they're actually doing away with block periods, which is like 2 periods in a row, basically. So we have a few block periods, which are 100 minutes, and a few skinnies, which are around 50 minutes.
Okay, let's say you were doing a project in one of these 100-minute classes, and you were about halfway through. Well, you have to put the project away, go to the next subject. Yeah. If you're homeschooling, you'd say, Mom, can I stay on this for today?
Oh, yeah.
And she says, okay, sure. Then you would be able to get closure on that whole thing each day.
Yeah, do it all at one
And
time.
then make up the other ones. It's very innovative to do something like that. That would cause a nightmare in the schools because who's going to monitor all this stuff? But I like the idea of the shortened and long. We were locked into that 42 or 45-minute period. Sometimes it was agony to get through it. Other times you were hoping that it didn't go so fast, depending on the subject.
Yeah, now they're doing away with blocks, so we'll be like you.
The
Short
only thing that
classes.
I would advocate for, and I know that a lot of schools, most schools, do not teach course in civics.
Oh, we had to take one, like
Yeah.
a course in 7th grade, and we had a required EOC, like a statewide test on that.
And it
back
gave
then.
you some semblance of what this system is all about.
Yeah.
And I think it's wise. Once you know something, and then if you want to complain about it or you want to change it, that's fine. But if you don't know anything about it and your friend is out there protesting and you're going to go protesting, you don't know why. I don't think that's right. I think you ought to make up your own mind where you want to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not
Be
saying any
educated.
one form of government is any better than any other one. I happen to like the one I espouse to, but I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to discuss the differences. And maybe we can come to some kind of an agreement. That's our country is based on 200 and some years of compromise. We have divergent political parties and they get together and they compromise. We were in a small town and we got cable finally years ago. It's about 40 years ago. And I was up one night late. It was around midnight and we had HBO and I was going gaga over HBO. It was the first biggie. And there was a political comedian. It was an older guy. And I just happened to turn it on and I'll never forget what he said. He said, okay, let me tell you the difference between the Democrats and the Republicans. I said, oh, this is going to be good. He said, the Democrats or the Republicans come up with bad ideas and the Democrats come up with no ideas. So they get together and they say, okay, we have to compromise. And one of the parties says, wait a minute, I know what we can do. We can make them even worse
Uh-oh.
to the compromise. And sometimes that happens. You get a divergent bill. We're going to add that. We're going to add that. We're going to add that. And it sort of waters it down. Like we were talking about before that I want to bring up about, changing a bill and adding riders and amendments for your favors. I owe this company, so let me see if I can design something that'll help my company.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the bill.
Mm.
And they supposedly did away with those several years ago, and they don't follow their own rules. They still add on these tagged wish list things. But it's a compromise that we go through. If I'm having a problem with somebody, I can either get in a fight with them, or they say, okay, come on now. Where are our differences? Where are our similarities? Can we build on that? If we did that, we'd have no war.
Yeah.
If we were dealing with people that we can talk to and come up with some agreements to sit and, it's like Russia and China. Oh, they're our adversaries, aren't they? They're really bad people. And yet we do a lot of business with them. We have a lot of agreements with Russia. We have a lot of agreements with China. And right now, this pandemic was the China virus, which was referred to. I mean, we should be demanding they give us $10 trillion for what they did to us.
Ooh, wow.
And yet we're still doing trade. We're still doing things. Same with Russia. I mean, we got together when the price of oil dropped to zero. We had to do something. And our country got together with Saudi Arabia and with Russia. And we worked out a deal. And suddenly the price of oil came up and we got stabilized. Now, if they were true adversaries, they wouldn't even come to the table. But they're sometimes looking for the good of their people too. I think if we focus on the good of the people we're dealing with, we're going to have a lot less problems than focusing on, can I get reelected? But that's the nature of our system.
Yeah, I think we'll have to go back to talking about London. 'Cause we just like,
I know.
woo,
Zoom.
Zoom.
Okay, and what else did you do? Oh, the changing the guard.
Oh yeah. It was very cool. We were on a bus tour, and we stopped for a little bit to watch the changing of the guards, and our tour guide showed us the like right place to view it, and we waited for a few minutes because we got there early, so we could see this happen without being like blocked by a bunch of people. And they played like when the guards came, they were like really all decked out in their clothes and uniforms, and it was a whole marching band, and I believe they even played a Star Wars song,
Oh,
and
neat.
everyone was cheering, and they did like the whole ritual changing ceremony, and we got to see that too.
Excellent.
Yeah,
That's quite a thing.
definitely.
If you ever get to Washington D.C., go to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and watch how the military do their rounds. The precision. They'll do it 24/7, no matter if it's raining, snowing, whatever. They're out there doing it. They never stop. And it's, I think, a 2-year obligation, 2-year sign up. And these guys are phenomenal. And it's the training, the drilling, the dedication. Okay, these guards in London are dedicated to
Yeah,
the
definitely.
system. Very much so. Well, we're just about done.
Oh, really? Okay, can I share something else?
Yes, please.
Okay. So along with having a bus tour, we had a little boat tour on the River Thames, and I was a little irresponsible some days of the trip, like on that boat. After we got off, so I had brought like a pack a like a backpack thing with me, and it had two red ties. I had to return to the choir director in it because we had to borrow them for a concert we had the prior day or so. And that was with like two choirs as opposed to the big finale show. We did a few songs there, but anyway, yeah. So I had like my two ties in there, and I had my phone charger and like two portable chargers all from home, and unfortunately I left that all on the boat. But I got a phone charger from the same dad who brought us to Byron's Burgers with our $15 gift card that we got at the beginning of the trip. And he also hooked me up and one of my friends up with two ties, and he showed us how to tie them, and we were all spick and span, and it was definitely an adventure. And then another time I was a little irresponsible was when I sort of I had an alarm set, and I just like exited out and like didn't even press the snooze button, and I woke up and it was an hour later, and we had 4 minutes to get down to the lobby to get to our chaperone group, and we thought we were going to be late, so we just like threw on the clothes we had on next to our bed, and we zipped down there. But thankfully another guy was late, and so they were waiting for him, but we didn't even have breakfast. But we got to enjoy the day, and that was the last day of our trip.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you again so much, Pierce, for
Yeah,
coming
thank
in.
you for having
We'll
me.
do some more down the road.
Yeah, sure.
Stay in touch. Let me know what's happening. Let us know what's happening.
Yeah.
And we will be back again next week with another exciting guest on the forum.